Okay, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Let everyone know that we are being recorded. We're out on the airwaves with pictures. Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we enter into the Board of Equalization.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we recognize and support your right to come register your concern about and appeal the appraisals that are given. Our duty is to hear both sides and make a determination based upon the facts as we see them. The assessor must assess value at market value on all properties in Bannock County. The appeal process gives the property owner the chance to appeal said value before this board. If for some reason the decision rendered does not meet with your satisfaction, we encourage you to file an appeal with the State Board of Tax Appeals. Another avenue is the district courts. It is imperative that you focus on property valuations, not on protesting your taxes or on people. We'll have our Deputy Clerk, Nancy Allen, swear all participants in. So the process is we'll give you 3 minutes and then we'll ask questions. We'll give the assessor's table 3 minutes and ask questions. We'll give you 2 minutes for rebuttal, and then the board will have a discussion and make a decision. Okay, so state your full name and your address, and your 3 minutes begin.
I'm Darren J. Sudweeks, 9161 West Caribou Road, Cooktoe, Idaho, 83204. The assessment didn't have the proper square footage on it. And I have bigger copies of the floor plans. I don't know if you got a copy of those that I emailed over. I can give those to you if that'll help you.
No, that's fine.
Okay. So the house that I have, the upstairs is not fully finished. So finished areas is 1876 square feet. I had an appraisal done that they took the and I don't know if did you get a copy of the appraisal?
I believe so, yes.
That was done quite a while ago, and it was taken from the county records, so even that had the wrong square footage. It even had central air conditioning listed that I do not have. That assessment came in at $329,923, and that was with the higher square footage. That was February 21st of 21. I was not able to get them to get it updated for the actual square foot that was finished. So with my 1876 square foot of finished, I was told that the following properties were used that were comparable, that I was told that my house was comparable to those. You should have the email of that, the 2708 Wild Horse Ridge, the 9195 Abbey Road, 2187 Jana Lane, and 9028 West Autumn Lane. Those 4 properties have more acreage. They have, well, one of them is 1.93. But the other 3 had more acreage. They were all fully finished. Quite a bit more square footage. They had full paved driveways, full landscaping done. Some had retaining walls done. I need to do retaining walls, but I don't have any of those done. I don't have any, my driveway still needs leveled. I also need a new well, and I've talked to a couple realtors that have told me the last estimate was around $35,000 to drill a new well. And I would have to disclose that if I was selling the property, and I either would have to have that done or take $40,000 to $50,000 off the asking price of my house. And then another thing like the Wild Horse location, the Abbey Road location, everybody knows it's location. That's a whole different kind of subdivision than where I am at. So when we had did the meeting in for the 2019 taxes with the board in Boise. I did the phone-in conference, and we went over all this information.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
Yeah, I do have just a few questions. It's pretty non-typical for us to see unfinished space on a main floor or an upper floor. And then there's also the difference on what we consider finished versus unfinished. With the appellant's assertion that it looks like about maybe 600 square feet of the upper or the main floor area is unfinished, would there be any aversion to doing an inspection to kind of verify on the finished space?
For me to answer?
Yeah, but yeah.
Comes through the
directed
board.
that. He's asking us,
That's the way
but
it
we.
keeps this from occurring.
Okay. Right, my wife has gone through cancer treatments, and she has pretty weak immune system, so that's why we weren't able to let anybody come into the house. And I'd be happy to take as many pictures as you want. I can do a walkthrough with a video camera if you need to verify that, but she just was not comfortable having people come in, so.
Okay,
No further questions.
your 3 minutes begin now.
Thank you. So in reviewing the appellant's packet, I am not sure how, without looking directly at the drawing of our home versus the appellant's provided blueprints, I can't speak to if there's any further discrepancy on the total square footage. I do know that just one important thing to note, for the process of a mass appraisal, we always measure from the outside. So we do typically, when we have questions about discrepancy on square footage, if it's a small amount, usually it's because a lot of homeowners have measured from the inside and we measure from the outside. But in regards to the finished area of the square footage, from the pictures shown, it looks like the majority of the finish has been added. When we look at finish for mass appraisal, what we're really looking for is, has the drywall been put up? Has the framing all been completed? It does look like there is some finishing touches that have not been completed. It looks like some of the drywall has not been finished and painted. It looks like there is some flooring that has not yet been installed. So from a mass appraisal standpoint, that wouldn't constitute completely unfinished, non-livable space, but there may be an influence there that needs to be applied and to account for some of the finishing details not being done. In regards to the lower completion of landscaping, we don't assess any sort of landscaping. We don't currently, we do account for driveways if it's actually paved or concrete, but we don't have any of that on file for this property either. So when I look over the file itself, we only have 450 square feet of finished space listed in the basement, which looks like it probably coincides with the very minimal amount of finish that has been done. When we assign a minimal amount of finish to the basement, it typically accounts for just the very basics, the very basics that have been installed just to have a certificate of occupancy issued. So from what I'm looking at on here, I'm not seeing anything that stands out as a glaring omission that needs to be updated, but I do show that the appraiser did make a small adjustment in talking with the homeowner. It looks like the assessment was lowered from $574,599 down to $553,816. And I'm not seeing any other large opportunities other than that. It sounds like there may be some small opportunities for corrections on that main floor if we're able to determine how much of an influence there is.
Okay, questions? Your 2 minutes begin now.
Okay. The 450 square foot, I don't have, the only thing that's painted is the bathroom. There is some sheetrock, but no tape and texture. So I'm not sure where the 450 square foot is coming from. And the question I'd asked, if anybody in this room would give me $553,816 for this house, I'd like to know that right now, because I'd love to take that for the condition and what.
If you put it on the market right now, you would probably be surprised with what you would get it to go
Not from
for.
what I'm hearing from realtors. With
Well,
everything.
I'm looking at your,
Okay, now, we're not gonna have a discussion and an argument about this.
Okay.
We said, we're not talking
Got
about
it.
taxes, people.
Okay.
This is,
This is about a
a
value.
100% assessment on the
But
value.
this is also assessment for 2020's resale value, not 2021 resale value, correct?
So, Mr.
January 1st of 2021.
Right, okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, and you've heard me state this before, the one thing that bothers me is we have people that come in and we have life safety health issues, and that's why we're showing them it's down. Now, I don't know how a certificate of occupancy was actually issued for this property. As I look through some of these things, it doesn't meet health safety standards. I don't know how it went through and that will be something that I'll address the building department, because, oh my word, we shouldn't be doing work like this with people living in that. And so I understand last time when you came that we adjusted it because I understood the property was under construction and we're pushing to get it done. And typically, when a house is in a state like that, you're a little bit more lenient.
Right.
But, I mean, you know, you're looking at doors that are over 3 feet tall that don't have railings on them, or stairs, or things like that. We have things that's not fire taped. We have stuff that, you know, pipes that are
Well,
exposed.
all the fire tape is done.
Well,
Yeah.
the sheetrock in the basement is not inspected, that's hanging up. I can see that there's no taping, there's no anything. You know, again, where do we start saying is, you know, if it was up to me, I would say we'd red tag your house then until it was done, because we still have a tax issue of saying, hey, this is here. The other thing is the market bears it. The broker analysis that you sent is actually not a broker analysis. I know it's probably a family member, but he's not a broker. And so I know the Real Estate Commission has really cracked down on that, so I'd make sure that they're very careful in doing that.
So I would need a broker analysis.
Well, no, you need a residential appraiser to give you an assessment of value.
Okay.
The other thing is like I said, where do we go with that? I understand the condition of the house, and I get it. I've owner-built houses a lot, but I'm starting to get to the point with a lot of these that we get people that it's almost like they don't push to get them done, because then they know they don't have to push to, well, hey, if I just don't put carpet down here, I don't do that, then I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And that is a frustration for me, because, you know,
Understood.
and I get it. Everybody has their own thing, but that's the problem that we start running into is when do we, you know, right now this market, as many houses as I've built and seen and done, it's getting nuts. And so why I say that is I don't think, you know, the 553 is probably, you know, or whatever the 574. Yeah, I don't think the 574 was probably in line, but the bones are there, and you're getting there. And
Well, and that was my question, the other properties that they listed that went for that dollar amount, there's no way my house compares to those houses for that kind of a value, so.
well, but like I said, now what's happening is people are buying bones. They're not buying cosmetics.
Right.
And so, you know, what are you looking at?
Now our
Commissioner?
discussion.
Yeah.
And I agree with everything you just said, Commissioner Tubby. How long do we keep pushing it back just because people are not willing to finish their house, but they live in the house? But what we've done with others right now this year is we've done the 15%
Okay.
from last year. That'd bring us to 373,750.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
So on parcel RPR 4013052,700, I'd make a motion that we make an adjustment to 373,750 with the adjustment being made on the improvement.
Okay.
Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So sir, we've adjusted the property by 15%. We saw that across the market. It doesn't matter if it's finished or unfinished. So we've raised that. You still have the ability to go to the state or to the courts.
Okay.
But other than that, this board considers the matter closed.
And please, 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 it makes it much easier to judge a house when everything's put together. And I get that, but it's just, and I always am concerned of the health safety factors. You know, the worst thing you want to have is you, your wife, kids, family, anybody. I mean, a job site, I have job sites open, and I get so terrified anytime I have my little kids and
Yeah,
everything around.
appreciate that.
And so just one of those things, I do get a little passionate about it because I've seen so many people get
Yeah,
hurt.
I do have the railings are all the way around the stairway. There's no place for somebody to fall down there, so.
Well, I'll just tell you, if you come back before us next year and they haven't done a physical inspection,
Yeah. That's the other thing, you need to have
It's
a,
gonna,
We're hopeful my wife will be able to, well, either that or I'll have to figure out how to get her out of the house, but right now it's kind of difficult to see.
well, I'm sure they'll work with you, especially in the age of COVID. We have figured out some things, so.
Okay.
all right.
And as far as finishing the house, I hope to have more time at the right beginning of 2020. I started a new company, and then in March, everything went south, and I couldn't even get any of the money because I didn't have any payroll yet. So I've been pretty well struggling for the last 2 years. So
I can,
no time to work on the house.
I can understand that. So, as I say, go forth and
Yeah.
do great things.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
I don't know who the gentleman was that just looked in.
Nope.
That's our 9 o'clock or? If not, we'll do 12. But I agree 100% with you. You can't keep coming in and claiming poverty.
Well, and it's just the whole thing that it looks at is now as I look at those files, that back door, it looks like it has doorknobs on it coming off the garage, and there's a 4-foot fall right next to the power meter. There's things that the sheetrock in the basement isn't fire taped. There's no, that fire taping is not done. Some of that stuff.
Well, how did it change it a little bit? Well, there he is. I just come back out and looked for you. What's your name?
Roger Scout.
Okay, we got one ahead of you,
Thank you.
and then go ahead and come up. They didn't show up, so, oh, what's your name? Sir, what's your name?
Robert Carter.
Okay, you're almost late. You're supposed to be here at 8:30.
I wasn't gonna be here for 9:30. She's in the hospital.
Okay, you're up. You're up.
What do I do now?
Sit right there, and then we're gonna have people swear you in, and we're gonna go through the rules.
All right, if you're gonna talk, you need to sit down and stand up and raise your right hand.
We're having your class reunion. It's okay.
Okay. I just assume that you sit back there, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. All right. We recognize and support your right to come register your concern and appeal the appraisals that are given. Our duty is to hear both sides and make a determination based upon the facts as we see them. The assessor must assess values as at market value on all properties in Bannock County. The appeal process gives the property owner the chance to appeal said value before this board. If for some reason the decision rendered does not meet with your satisfaction, we encourage you to file an appeal with the State Board of Tax Appeals. Another avenue is the district courts. It is imperative that you focus on property valuations, not on protesting your taxes, and not on people. We'll go ahead and have the Deputy Clerk Nancy Allen swear individuals in. Please stand up.
Yep.
Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Okay, the process is we're gonna allow you 3 minutes, then we can ask questions, then we're gonna allow the assessor's table 3 minutes, and we can ask questions, and then you're gonna have 2 minutes for rebuttal. When this red light goes off, your time's up it's right here on this table. So please state your name, and then your 3 minutes will begin.
My name's Robert Carter. My wife is Teresa Carter, and she was the one that was gonna be here, but she's in the hospital with E. coli or something like that. I had a stroke a while back, and I don't speak so well, so she was gonna do this, but she wrote this down. It's enclosed a copy of our tax notice and evaluation of the property at 563 Double Eagle Drive. Hotel, 83204. I know our neighbors whose houses are the same size or a little larger at the home, the same, well, the finished basement. 532 Double Eagle Drive and 515 Double Eagle Drive. Their assessments are $50,000 less than ours. Thank you for your consideration on the matter. Tricia Carter.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
I do have one question. How much of the basement is currently finished on this home?
On mine?
Yes, sir.
It's almost all finished.
No more questions.
Okay, your 3 minutes begin now.
Thank you. So in reviewing this home, we show the home to be built in 2016. We currently show about 90% finish in the basement, a total of 2,700 square feet finished upstairs and downstairs. When I look at the comparable properties, we found 3 sales all on the same street that have sold in the 15-month period that we're looking at. When we look at those, we do show that this particular home falls within that range of what they were selling for up through January 1st of this year. One thing to note on this home is it has not yet been drawn in. It has not had its conversion completed into our new system. So this would have been the small remaining amount of parcels that had been simply trended over last year without being drawn in. So I would say that looking at the comparable sales, it does still appear that we are in the range of what we've seen happen in the market, and it does appear that outside of drawing the home in, I don't see any glaring potential errors that might cause this value to be off.
Okay, thank you. Questions, or your 2 minutes begin for rebuttal.
It's our house is smaller than most of these, and even though it is finished in the basement, it is just barely what you need down at the basement. It was more expensive, our taxes are more expensive than sometimes our other places are larger than my next door neighbor. He came in from Las Vegas. He says he's never seen taxes so high in his life. And that guy next from California, he says, what do you guys do up here? And Boise is about much smaller than ours. Yeah. I don't understand what's happening, but we're retired and we just don't have time we can't do that. That's enough.
Thank you. Commissioner?
It doesn't fall in the 15% test. I mean, it went from 351 to 392. I checked up and down the street right here. I was looking to see if the other houses, it's falling in line with all the other houses in the neighborhood. The house directly to the east of it is actually assessed. It's about the same size property. It's a little bit larger by about 200 square feet, but its total improvements, it's 463, and this one's listed at 351. Now, this is last year's assessments. I don't know what the property directly to the east on the same side of the street went for, but I mean, all of them appear to be somewhat, I mean, there's not a glaring out of whack property here.
All our neighbors have seen or showed their assessor reports or whatever, and we know that theirs is much less than ours.
Well, I'm looking at them right now. I have them pulled up, and I can see and know the The one to your neighbor that lives directly to the east of you on the same side of the street, his total value from last year was $463,994, and his house, he has 1,600 roughly on each, so he's a 3,200 square foot house, and yours is 2,800, so it's actually about 1,000 square feet more, but it's almost $100,000 more is what yours was last year. Now this year there was a correction, and we'll see. But again, as I look up and down the street, I can click on every single one of them, and I'm not seeing a property that is either drastically less or drastically more. The only ones that don't have a value associated with them are the vacant lots or things that have just been built probably within this year that haven't picked up yet onto it. Typically what we see too is if anything's went higher than about 15% mean growth in a year, then something's out of whack, and you're less than a 15% growth. If you're at 15% from last year, your growth rate on the 351 would have put you about 406, 408. So you're underneath the average growth of what everything else in the county has done. So I'm not saying where there is an issue that's here.
So I have a question for the assessor's table. Looking at the comps, you have two of them at 116.19, and then 123 on the on his. Talk to me about that.
You're in price per square foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I am seeing on those is I'm seeing some additional finished square footage in the basement, and with that additional finished square footage, that's getting factored into that calculation. So that is likely what is attributing to that. I did check one of these just now, and it looks like the three of these may all be drawn in at this point where the subject property is not yet drawn in.
With that being said, if you adjust the improvements with the 116 instead of the 123,
317. And then you add your cost of the land value on top of it.
yeah, it's 373, 477.
Yeah.
So on parcel RPRPIR2001100, I'd make a motion that we adjust the value to 373,477 with the adjustment coming off the improvement. So, sir, we've adjusted your property down to 373,477 to make it per square footage comparable to two of the comps that they had. So using the information that we had before us, we've adjusted you about $20,000. That being said, this board considers the matter closed.
Okay, I appreciate that. All my neighbors asked more questions when they're there. They know I'm coming over. And they said, well, how come it's supposed to tell high taxes?
We're not.
Huh?
So Bannock County, specifically Bannock County, is the 16th out of 44 for rural tax rates and 8th for urban tax rates. So Bannock County and Pocatello, that's a misnomer. That is not correct.
Okay, I just, that may be, they just asked me to ask for why, because they say Boise's much shorter.
Oh, they're not. And I'll tell you.
It shouldn't be, that was the question I was asking.
But you can tell them the Idaho State Tax Commission has those rates on there. Your friend that came from Las Vegas, their tax burden's about 3 times what the state of Idaho is. That's why everybody's moving here. That's what's funny is they say, oh, we have taxes that on our property that's probably a little higher, but their overall tax burden, we're far less. So I would reference you back to the Idaho State Tax Commission website. It has a plethora of information to show you that we are not the highest.
We have a lot of people moving in that are willing to pay a higher price than we've ever seen before.
Well, that's really great, but some of us can't.
Well, but that's what generates the market,
Yep.
so, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Scow?
One of my favorite stores is Scow's
Really?
heavy equipment.
Oh, we're in Rupert probably.
Oh yeah, there's one in Idaho
Area?
Falls. We
I know
buy a
that.
lot of tractor parts on
Not
there. for the
directly
family.
related, but,
Just
yeah,
have to say that, Scout. You don't hear that name much.
Right.
Okay,
I'm on?
you state your name and your 3 minutes begin.
All right, Roger Scow. I just want to say first off, I'm not anti-tax. I consider myself reasonable. I want to pay my fair share, and so, and I want the government to be reasonable as well. So, government is supposed to be a social program that serves the masses, not the 1%, not the corporations. And, if it's not serving the people, then I submit there's probably a hot or cold place waiting for the people that are just all about the money and and the finances, and not about making things reasonable for the common man. My taxes, I haven't made any changes to my house. I still have the same amount of land, still have the same house, no improvements from last year. My taxes went up considerably last year, right?
Okay, remember, we're not talking about taxes. We're talking about assessed value.
Well, but it translates to how much I pay in taxes, does it not?
Okay, but that isn't the discussion of this board. So,
Well, are we gonna, is it reasonable for corporations to come in and artificially inflate the prices, or to, because Californians are moving in and, they can pay more? Is that reasonable for the people that already live
that is
here?
the market.
Okay, well, again, I submit,
And that's what the assessor has to value property on. By state code, that's the law.
all right, well, I submit that there should be a cap for a yearly cap on how far that can go up, because, it's a burden. And like I said, last year my taxes already went up. Nothing's changed, for me. And, my taxes went up 25%. That's not reasonable. Okay? And it's an artificially inflated market right now. So, what is reasonable, right? I'm not here to say I don't want to pay anything, but let's be reasonable. That's what I would submit. Nothing's changed for me. I haven't made improvements. I haven't,
Thank you. The assessor table,
No questions.
your 3 minutes begin now.
Thank you. In reviewing the home, we do show the home was built in 1975. We do not currently show any updates on record that have been done to the home, so the home would be subject to full depreciation for a home of its age. We show it to be of average condition for its age. In reviewing our notes from our appraisers, it does look like our appraisers spoke with somebody from the appellant household and went over the details of the home. It appears that they were able to agree that our details are accurately reflected for the overall condition and makeup of the home and the size. When I look at other sales that have occurred in the market for a home like this in this general area, we certainly do show that even with the 23% increase that this home went through this year, that it does fall in line with what we're seeing in the market. This home was recently drawn in, so its conversion was completed for the 2021 assessment. And while we completely appreciate the appellant's concerns about what our market has done recently, where at the assessor's office we are held by state code to follow that market no matter where it's going up or down, it does appear that we have accurately reflected what the market value of the subject property was as of January 1st, 2021. So our recommendation would be that we do stay with that current assessed value. Thank you.
Okay. Rebuttal?
All right, well, I understand that, it's possible that, there can be an allowance of 10%, that it does not necessarily have to be fully assessed at 100%. And so I would respectfully request that we, my wife and I, receive that consideration.
Okay, Commissioner?
Again, as we look on just testing, it's a little outside the 15% thing. I think today you probably would be there. January, maybe not. The other thing is what we're seeing is we're not seeing companies artificially inflating value. We're becoming a Zoom community. People that want to come home to Pocatello because they left to work for Apple and IBM and all these other companies now can come back and pay cash money. And what we're charged with is in the free market system is what is a buyer and a seller willing to exchange $1 for a property. That's what the assessor's table under state law is tagged for. Third, the issue that you raised about taxes raising, Bannock County actually lowered the taxes by 15.5% last year. The school district did increase your taxes, so the increase in your taxes you did see would come from that. Your value, your assessment is not directly correlated. Causation and correlation are not directly tied together in this factor. But I would say that with the 15% rule is probably what I would use.
And I'd just say, on both parties, there wasn't any evidence. This is what we received.
Yeah, we got an assessment and that's it.
So, I mean, the preponderance of evidence, if we hadn't been going by what we've been doing with the 15%, it would be very tough to agree with either party with the evidence that we received.
What evidence would you have wanted to see?
An assessment,
A matter of opinion is not evidence.
Yeah.
This is just like a court.
Yep.
So you would need to bring evidence saying, this is what my house is valued at. Whether it's an assessment or not an assessment,
Appraisal.
an appraisal, or something of that matter to justify us making changes.
comparable sales, pictures of condition. I mean, the whole thing is this is the first step of a judiciary process. So from here, you can either go to the state or to the district court.
Yeah.
Rules of evidence
Yeah.
are still in effect.
Okay.
It's more about principle.
No.
You know?
Well, it's more about opinion, and then we don't do that in court.
No.
So,
Yeah, okay,
Anyway.
I understand.
okay,
I'm not holding
okay,
anybody
stop
personal.
here. Stop here.
Mr. Chairman, I would move on parcel, where did it go? I don't have my normal little thing up here. RPRPSV 2001700, that we apply the 15%. You got a total on that, to
226.
226,755 off the improvements.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So, sir, we've adjusted your value down to 226,755. And as far as this board is concerned, the matter is closed. You still have the right to appeal.
Okay,
Okay?
thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. You hear me? Good to see you again.
Good to see
Thank
you,
you.
Roger.
And, I guess,
Nancy,
Nancy, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
have a good day.
You too.
All right. We have the suggestions from the assessor's table on the other properties. We'll do the same way. If there's no disagreement that this will be exhibition, what was the last one, 1A or A1 or
Hey, yes, we'd make this Exhibit B.
Exhibit B?
Yep.
We have
Motion?
one more that we have to go back and address.
Good.
Do you guys want to just prep another list? We have this afternoon, correct?
No, we're done. This
We're
is it.
done?
This is it.
Okay.
This is the last hearing, but there are a few parcels that during the course of proceedings over the last 2 weeks, you've sent back to our
Yeah,
office.
we need to.
There's maybe 3 or 4 of those.
Kirkham's Ag.
Mhm.
I had it written down. What was the other?
Oh, let me see
I thought one you come back that day and we
here. Yeah,
settled.
Kirkham's Ag accounts for 2 parcels. There was one from, I believe, the first day for is it this one?
Yeah.
The Rhonda
Yeah.
and Harold Anthony family.
We're actually set till 11:30 in this room. Do we just want to take a break then before we do exhibit?
There's the only one that was on this one.
Can, Mr. Chairman, I'd say that if you guys could get an actual list compiled on top of Exhibit B and have Exhibit C even, and just get it all written down, and then we can make sure we hit them when we do them all at once.
Let's go ahead and do Exhibit B then,
Okay.
at this time.
Mr.
You also have that with those prices.
Yep.
And we're gonna take care of that too.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the values as presented in Exhibit B with, upon unanimous consent from the assessor's table.
Consent?
Yes.
On Exhibit B? We have a motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. That will be included in the records. Yes, ma'am.
No, I was just wondering when we
Okay.
were gonna do exhibit C.
Let's meet back here at 11 o'clock.
That
Is
gives
that
enough
time enough?
Yes.
Okay, let's meet back at 11, and then we'll,
Deal with diversified holdings at the same time?
yes.
Okay.
That being said, we are at